Okay, today's date is January 17th, 2015. My name is Lisa DeShields. I'm going to be posting this to YouTube. The reason for my post is because, let me just stick to the facts here. March 19th, 2010, my husband, Kenneth DeShields Jr., was shot and murdered by an off-duty police officer by the name of Jonathan Josey. My husband was in the Army. He did a 15-month tour over in Afghanistan. He helped to capture 6 Al-Qaeda members, was promoted while over in Afghanistan. On the night of March 19th, 2010, my husband was scheduled to be redeployed back over to Afghanistan to do a 15 to 18-month tour. That night that my husband was shot and murdered by Jonathan Josey, first of all, my husband was suffering severely from post-traumatic stress disorder from the things that he had seen while over in Afghanistan and the things that he witnessed and the things that he had to go through. So an attempted robbery was in effect. Jonathan Josey, who happened to be off duty that night, came into the 7-Eleven as my husband was leaving the 7-Eleven. The clerk from the 7-Eleven informed Jonathan Josey, who he knew, which I don't know how he knew, he must have been a regular at the 7-Eleven. He informed Jonathan or Lieutenant Josey, that he was just almost robbed. Jonathan pursued my husband. My husband stopped. This is, as far as I know, when I went to the hearing with the DA and the detectives that investigated the case, my husband stopped, put his hands up in the air. By this point in time, he was across the street, across City Line Avenue in St. Joseph's University parking lot. My husband had stopped and put his hands up. Although my husband did put his hands up, Jonathan Josey unloaded his gun at my husband. Now his, service weapon carries 6 shots, 6 bullets. All 6 were empty. 3 of those bullets impacted my husband, and my husband died that night. And the reason that I'm posting this now, first and foremost, it took a long time for me to even get over the fact that my husband, even though he was in Afghanistan, there was a possibility, maybe, just maybe, God forbid, something should happen to him while he's over in war. But to come home and to be in the city of Philadelphia and then be shot and killed by an off-duty cop, it was very life-altering for me. And the reason that I'm posting this video now, and I'm coming out now and speaking out about this, was because is due to the fact that that night changed my life, first of all, and then my naiveness, I guess if you want to call it that cops are supposed to protect and serve. Well, I don't believe that Josey deserves to have his badge. I've been doing a lot of research, and there's close to 20 incidents against Josey for police brutality, for planting evidence, for just outright nastiness towards people. One case is against him from a lady named Ada Guzman, who was at the Puerto Rican Day Parade back in 2013. She was in the crowd spraying silly string, like many people do during the parade. Well, she went to spray the silly string, and Josey then turned around and pursued her and punched her in the face. As she fell to the ground, he punched her in the back of the head. That video is on YouTube. She pursued it. She won her case. He actually lost his job and was fired because of that incident. A judge reinstated him, and his punishment for what he did to Ada Guzman was that he got back pay during the time in which he was fired. Another case that I believe is still an ongoing investigation is with a man named James Lewis and his 2 sons. He had an altercation with Josey and 3 other officers that I don't know, I'm not aware of who they are. That's still an ongoing investigation, and as far as I know, James Lewis and his 2 sons are suing Josey. I've researched him, and like I said, there's close to 20 incident reports against Josey. I don't feel that this man deserves to have his badge. Instead of protecting and serving, he's gotten an ego, and he hides behind his badge to do police brutality, to bribe, to humiliate. I think he degrades people, and I think he's using his badge to hide who he really is. And I'm coming out now and speaking out about this now because I don't feel like Kenny got any justice for what happened to him. And I certainly, as his wife, didn't get any justice for what Josey did to him. Although it's coming up on 5 years, there's not a day that goes by that I don't miss Kenny, and I don't miss hearing him, and I don't miss his laugh. And it just angers me to no end that this man is walking around with his badge still, and he's abusing his power. He's abusing his badge to be brutal towards people and towards your rights as a human being. The judge that reinstated him, I don't think he should have reinstated him. And then the fact that they gave him back pay while he was fired is just, to me, adding salt to an open wound. Especially to Ada Guzman. My heart goes out to her and her family, and my heart most definitely also goes out to James Lewis and his family. Every day I live with the fact that my husband is no longer here, and every day Josey gets to walk around, and who knows if he's badgering somebody else or attacking somebody else or degrading somebody else. I think it's a disgrace to the Philadelphia Police Department. I'm sure that there are some really good cops in that department, but he is the sort of cop that gives good cops a bad name. And like I said, it's my belief that he uses his badge to hide who he really is. I think he's a monster, and I don't think he deserves to have his badge anymore. So I'm speaking out, and I'm going to continue to speak out. If there's somebody that doesn't believe that there are close to 20 incidents reports against this man, all you have to do is Google his name, Jonathan Josey, and videos pop up, reports pop up. There was a report done on copblock.org against Josey. Like I said, 20 incident reports against this man, and he's still walking around with a badge. That night that this happened, March 19th, 2010, he was off duty, and my husband did stop. He put his hands up, and when he went to reach for his wallet, because he had his wallet in his front hoodie, Josey didn't know what he was doing, and instead of saying, "Freeze, don't move," he started shooting at Kenny. And like I said, he unloaded his gun, and it carries 6 bullets. 3 of them hit my husband in the back. Now, the district attorney and the 2 detectives did verify that Kenny did stop. He put his hands up. There was a witness that was interviewed by Channel 6 or Channel 10 News from St. Joseph's. I forget the kid's name, but he heard Josey, when he was standing over my husband, say, "If you move, I'll shoot you again." So it just goes to tell you what kind of man this is that's walking around the streets of Philadelphia with this badge. So I'm going to continue to speak out. I'm going to start a blog. I've already contacted Channel 3, Channel 6, Channel 10, the Philadelphia Inquirer, the Philadelphia Daily News. I have been contacted by a senator, and my next step is Congress. Being a military widow, I'm still fighting the VA. I haven't received anything from the VA. And I just feel like Kenny, although he was suffering from PTSD, he's just another number to the VA. All the red tape that these guys have to go through to get what's rightfully theirs. Like I said, I'm going to keep fighting, and I'm going to be his voice. He's not here to speak for himself, but I am. And there's not a day that goes by that I don't miss my best friend. And the holidays are the worst. And his birthdays are even worse than that. And he was killed a month shy of his birthday. So if there's anybody out there that has had an incident or a run-in with Jonathan Josey, please contact me. Leave a message underneath my YouTube video. Like I said, I'm going to continue to go on about this. So thank you for taking the time, 10 minutes and 35 seconds of your life to listen. And thank you and God bless.